Hi, this is Flip Classroom Video 9 for beginning music theory students. We're going to be talking about half steps, accidentals and half steps, whole steps, and more practice with dotted quarter notes. So first, a half step is the distance between two consecutive keys on the piano keyboard. C and C sharp, E and F, B and C, E flat and E. So a half step is when you move from one key to the next, whether it's white to black or white to white. It doesn't matter. If you move to the next possible note, that's a half step. Two notes that are spelled differently but are actually the same pitch are called inharmonic tones or inharmonic notes. C sharp and D flat are spelled differently, but they are the same pitch or the same key on the piano. For example, here is A flat and G sharp, A flat, and then I'll sing a G sharp, G sharp. They're the same. They're just two different ways to spell the same pitch, depending on if you're sharping it or if you're flatting it. So inharmonic notes are notes that are the same pitch but spelled differently. Half steps are notes that are one step, or I should say the next note away from a note. So C to B is a half step, A to A flat is a half step, F to F sharp is a half step. List 5 different inharmonic tones that you see on this keyboard: C sharp and D flat, D sharp and E flat, E and F flat, C and B sharp, and pick the last one. All right, let's go on. Accidentals and half steps. Accidentals are symbols that are written next to notes that alter their pitch. 3 examples are sharp, naturals, and flats are accidentals. Accidentals last for a single measure. Once there is a bar line, then the accidental disappears. They're only canceled by another accidental in the same note or a bar line. So if there's an F sharp here and an F natural, which looks like this, then that sharp is canceled by the natural sign. So let's explain. A sharp raises a note by a half step. So instead of F, it's F. It raises it up a little bit, so it's higher in pitch. Draw a sharp before each note. It's the hashtag symbol or a number sign, almost. All right, a flat lowers a note by a half step. As with the sharp, write it before the note on the same line or space. So instead of C, it would be C. It makes the note a half step lower. So draw a little flat, which looks like the letter B, almost, before each of these notes. A natural cancels a sharp or flat. So we have G sharp, a natural will bring it down to G. Or if we had E flat, a natural would bring it up to E. So it cancels out the sharp or the flat. To draw a natural, use this symbol to the left of the note. Please draw that symbol to the left of the note. A half step is the distance between two notes on the keyboard. It is the smallest interval or the smallest space in between music in our music. In Eastern music, they have quarter steps. But here's some examples of half steps. F up to F sharp, D down to C sharp, E up to F, B down to B flat. Now it's asking you to do something. So in 4, you didn't have to do anything. In 5A, 5B, and 5C, name the notes B, C, A, B, D, E flat, F. Then use your keyboard to help you find and circle the half steps in the next 3 lines. The keyboard is right here on the first page of the study guide that you printed out before watching this video. So you're using that keyboard, and you're saying B to C, that's a half step because B to C is the next note on the keyboard. A to B, that's it's not a half step. So to help you find and circle the half steps in the next 3 lines, so you don't circle that. D to E flat is a half step, so you'd circle there. E flat to F is not a half step, so you would not circle those notes, just name them. So please follow these instructions for 5A, 5B, and 5C. All right, next, moving on. Whole steps. A whole step is equivalent to 2 half steps. Equivalent means the same or equal to. On the piano, it's the distance between 2 keys that have 1 key in between them. Here are some examples. C to D has C sharp in between these, so it's a whole step. E to F sharp has F that's in between these, so it's a whole step. etc. For each pair of pitches, name the notes C, B, F, G, G flat, F sharp, A sharp, B. Then check your keyboard on that first sheet to determine whether they are a half step apart, a whole step apart, or inharmonic. Remember, inharmonic notes are two notes that are written differently but are the same pitch. C down to B is a half step. F up to G is a whole step. G flat and F sharp are the same note, spelled differently, so you'd write inharmonic. A sharp up to B is a half step. Please check your piano keyboard and rewind this video and realize why I labeled these as such until you can do 3, 4, 5 on your own. Melodic dictation. We'll do this in class. Write down the remaining notes in the melody. So I'm going to actually play pitches now on the piano and not just rhythms, and you're going to write the right pitch as well as the right rhythm down. All right. Lastly, more practice with dotted quarter notes. Label the type of each note and write the number of counts it receives. This is a half note, it receives 2 beats. This is a dotted half note, it receives 3 beats. This is a quarter note, it receives 1 beat. This is a dotted quarter note, it receives 1.5 beats. Let's do 2A together. This is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if I would count it in time, it'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Please do 2B by yourself. Now in each measure, write the equivalent or the number of eighth notes that this note equals. So how many eighth notes fit in a half note? The answer is 4. How many eighth notes fit in a quarter note? 2. How many eighth notes fit in a dotted quarter note? 3. And figure out the dotted half note on your own. This is 3 beats. So how many eighth notes fit in 3 beats if each eighth note is half a beat? Fill each measure with 1 note to make it 5 beats in each of these measures. Measure 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do the first one together. This is 3 beats, that's a half, so we're missing 1.5 beats. What's 1 note that equals 1.5 beats up here? This one. So put the dotted quarter note right here rather, dotted quarter note. Please do the rest on your own. And that is lesson 9. You only have 12 quizzes total until you have mastered the beginning basics of music and being able to read, sight read, compose, and arrange music. Quite impressive. Keep it up.